Welcome everyone to In the Weeds here on Fightful Overbooked. Look at that beautiful man, SP3, dancing to the intro song. I'm Jeremy Lambert. Maybe you can see me in this tree background. I'm in the trees right now, SP3.
You
That
took
is
you
SP3.
took the title literally.
Yeah. That is SP3. Joel Pearl is not here, thank God. It is Monday, May 8th. We're here to talk about the world of professional wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, at 10:45, we'll be joined by independent wrestler Matt Brannigan. He has a big match this weekend against Nick Aldis. He also teams with Megabyte Ronnie as Hot and Dog on the independent scene. And then at 11:30 from the Bet Las Vegas, we have Adrian Hernandez. He was live in Puerto Rico for WWE Backlash. We will talk about Backlash with him. SP3, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. It was interesting weekend. Highs and lows. Highs being my Los Angeles Lakers going 2-1, keeping consistent with my prediction. Another high was WWE Backlash with that Puerto Rican crowd, man. It's been too long, 18 years without hearing that type of reaction. And they were so hungry for some professional wrestling and a major show. And you could tell that throughout the entire show, from the opening match onwards until the main event, the real main event, which was, like we said on Friday, should have been Bad Bunny. But of course, how did the bloodline go to the cool down match? It went from the one of the I'm saying it's one of the greatest storylines in WWE history to the cool down match. They are the 2008 Divas now. Sheesh. But that's a low. The high, a high. But yeah, it was an interesting week in wrestling. A lot of Japanese wrestling. You know, we talked about wrestling Dontaku on Friday. I got to finish watching the full Stardom show from last Thursday. That was really great stuff. Got to watch some All Japan Pro Wrestling I was watching before we went live here. So good week for wrestling. Good week to talk about some stuff. And then we're going to talk about a low, which is the nonsensical World Heavyweight Championship tournament. So it's going to be a great episode of In the Weeds, because I can guarantee SP3 is going to rant about this ridiculous tournament.
We will get into the tournament here in a second. We'll talk about Backlash with Adrian Hernandez. The cool down match, the wife is already texting me. She says, the cool down match because Sammy isn't champion. They're in the fourth inning, SP3. You watch baseball. The fourth inning isn't that important, right?
Let me be honest here, folks. I don't watch a full baseball game. That is a little long. I was supposed to be doing baseball content for Sportskeeda, and there was the guy that was in charge of it went on vacation, I think in March, and I didn't even hit him up again to do another baseball podcast, because I was like, I did like 2 episodes. I was like, that's enough baseball for me.
You see the games, you watch the first couple of innings, like, oh, okay, let's see how it goes. We want to see the heart of the order and everything. And the fourth inning, fourth inning, it's like, oh, bottom of the lineup. All right, okay, I've seen this guy bat before. I don't need to see him again. We'll just wait a little bit. They take the pitchers out at the fifth inning. By this point, they're making pitching changes because nobody can throw over 50 pitches. And then you tune back in maybe in the 8th or 9th inning. So they're in like the 4th, 5th inning right now. It's not that important, this bloodline stuff. So yeah, put them in the cool down match. It'll pick back up. It'll pick back up by Mania 41. That's when they'll get into the 9th inning or so. They're going to Nashville allegedly for Mania 43. I'm sure by then they'll get into, maybe they go to extra innings. Maybe they got to get to the 11th inning. You never know. You never know with a baseball game.
You never know. It's like, it's like a story. If you're ever done any writing, it's like when you're in like English class and you're supposed to do a 10-page paper, but you really only have 8 pages, and you just keep repeating the same points for the last 2 pages. That's what we're at. That's where we're at. We're at somebody who only made an 8-page paper, and now they have to extend it to 10, 11, seems like 20 pages, and they're just repeating the same notes over and over and over and over and over and over again.
That was me every time I had to write an English paper. Just, all right, what are my points here? I already said, it doesn't matter. How can I just like reframe this and say it in the same way, but use different words just to
Or,
hit the page minimum. Double space, I was like 2.5 in space, that stuff sometimes. Like maybe they won't notice this. Just keep going.
when you have to do like a test and it needs to be a minimum amount of words, so you just reframe the question as the answer. Like that's what we're doing. That's what they're doing. Like, what's next for the bloodline? What was next for the bloodline is coming up next. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing right now. Is that everybody's like, so what's next for the bloodline? And they're just repeating the question over and over again before they can get to the eventual real answer.
Write bigger. That's what they should do. SP3. My friend had like the tiniest handwriting in the world, and it made it so difficult for his papers because he could fit like 100 words. That's an exaggeration, but like he'd fit like 100 words on like a line. Because his handwriting was so tiny. So like his 1-page paper is akin to like 3 pages for like me, but it's only 1 page for him. I was like, you got to write bigger, dude. You got to like really stretch this out to hit the requirement here. That's what they should do. Just write bigger for the bloodline. They're writing so tiny right now, and you can't do it. Don't need to do it. It was the cool down match. It really was.
But how did they go from the great? I mean, you know what this feels like more than anything? It feels like the Authority post WrestleMania 30. It feels like the Authority had the perfect ending. WrestleMania 30, Daniel Bryan overcomes the Authority. He wins the undisputed, WWE World Heavyweight Championship, standing tall, celebrating. And then it just continued afterwards, the Authority. They brought back Evolution. That was a little bit interesting. That's a lot better of a post-Mania angle than what we're getting right now. So they made it a little bit fresh for a couple of months with Shield and Evolution. And then the Authority just kept going. And then they were able to put a fresh coat of paint on it by like June when Steph joined. But it was never the same. It was never the heights of what the Authority was after, WrestleMania 30, at WrestleMania 30, when Bryan overcame them. It was never at that height again. But I feel like this is even worse. How did they go in a month to the cool down match? They were headlining every show. And then they went to the cool down match, Jeremy. How dare they? How dare they? I know you're a part of my movement, but more people need to be a part of this flawed Paul movement. You got the great Will Washington just went to AEW helping out Tony Khan with long-term creative. Triple H needs a Will Washington. He needs a Will Washington desperately. He needs someone to be like, okay, so you wanted to extend the story, but you're not really doing anything new. So maybe we should freshen this up a bit. Maybe we should just have Solo thumb one of his brothers. Let's stop teasing it for a whole freaking month. Just thumb one of his brothers. Just do it.
Triple H's booking. I was gonna make this point on Twitter, but then people yell at me, and
yes.
It's not the place for nuanced conversation. So I'll just say it on my own show where I can, maybe no one will clip it or anything like that. Please tell me, since this man took over in August, SP3, you're a little biased on this because we're kind of on the same wavelength. No, not a bad way. Like we're on the same wavelength of Triple H's booking. So you're not a Triple H defender in this aspect. So that's why I'm saying you're biased about it. His booking. Please tell me, SP3. Since he took over in August, what good he has done that has not been bare minimum. I brought this person back. I brought that person back. I changed this person's name. I gave them their name back. Like, what's there been? He just kind of corrected some stuff that pissed everybody off that Vince did, like firing people and changing names. Like firing people is not minor stuff. Name changes, very minor stuff. Like he corrected those mistakes. But as far as like the actual television content and stories, what's there been? SP3. People are going to say the bloodline, and like, yeah, because Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns have a lot of control over that, and then they still missed 2 monster opportunities on that, and now look where we're at with the bloodline.
You say 2. I say 3 because he could have used Money in the Bank to split these titles with Austin Theory at Clash at the Castle. So that's three blunders that he's had with the Bloodline storyline. And like I said, I've said this on social media and I'll say it here. The Bloodline storyline was like a table that was already set for him before he even got in the house. Before he even got in the house to improve some things, the table was already set for him.
He still screwed it up. He tried to do the tablecloth trick, you pull it, and then they all stay there. He tried to do that, and and it just made a bigger mess of everything. He could not do the tablecloth trick at all. Yeah. That's what happened with him.
And I see people say longer matches, no constant rematches. That's what Jeremy's referring to. This is minor changes of obvious things to fix. Like it's basically another school analogy. It's like
rematches. The rematches, by the way, he's been running those for a while now. People take notice of how many times we're getting these rematches. Like,
how many times we've seen Solo Sikoa versus Kevin Owens? How many times we've seen Solo Sikoa versus Matt Riddle? Yeah, we've seen that a bunch of times. So even that, he's kind of reverting back to that clutch. So I will just say, yeah, he made matches longer and focused more on wrestling. And he changed Piper Niven's name back to Piper Niven. He made Nikki Cross Sanity. And another school analogy,
they're both doing well.
I know, right? They're doing great, right? They're on TV all the time. It's like if you get a multiple choice questionnaire and it's 100 questions and you only do the easy ones, and then you're stuck there with like 65 different questions that you didn't answer because that takes a little bit more foresight and a little bit more thought. He did all the easy ones first. Seth Rollins is going to be a babyface. Kevin Owens is going to be a prize fighter. Let's, the perfect table that's already set up for him. Well, let's put more of a focus on Sami Zayn. Those are easy stuff to do. It's the more difficult stuff that he's kind of blundered at. And I'll give him one great credit is the one great story that he himself has put together and planned out very well is the Dom and Ray storyline, the Mysterio family, and then extending that to putting the LWO shirt on Legado del Fantasma, because that they went from not getting any reaction to getting some big reactions for a stable that, if you watch WCW in 1999 through 2000, it was a job squad. It was the equivalent of the job squad in WWF, and he's made that into a very popular and great merchandise mover 100%. Like, I'll give him credit for those two things, but even with that, LWO has been able to buy a win on TV, and 2, he just separated Ray and Dom again. What are you doing? The WWE draft, I think, is bringing more people onto the side of let's open our eyes to what Triple H is doing. The bar was at the center of the earth, and all he did was skip, hop, and do a cartwheel over it. And everybody was like, oh man, it's so much better than it was. And it is so much better, but that's because of how horrible Vince McMahon was at the job. It's not because Triple H is really that good at the job. Vince McMahon was an F student. Triple H is a C- student. That's all.
C's get degrees, baby. C's get degrees.
He's a C- student that he's getting by on the fact that the student next to him is an F student. He's getting grade on a curve, and then he's a very smart student that just doesn't apply himself, because for everything he does wrong, he already put the scapegoat out there when he said the meeting. Oh, Vince will have input, but I have the final say. And I feel like a lot of fans are focused on that first part of Vince has input and not focused on the part of him saying, I have final say. If you have final say, some things need to change, like read the freaking room in Puerto Rico. Why is not Bad Bunny and Damian Priest main eventing Triple H? I heard people try to blame that on Vince McMahon. I was like, yes, that is akin to Vince McMahon not reading the room, but it's definitely Triple H who had the final say there. You put Bad Bunny in the main event.
He was trying to keep the streak alive. SP3, Elimination Chamber. How did it end? How did everybody want it to end? How did it end? WrestleMania. How did everybody want it to end? How did it end? Backlash. How did everybody want it to end? How did it end? 3 straight pay-per-views. He's keeping the streak alive. Even Rumble, I don't think anybody thought Owens was going to win. They did the big turn. They got the big pop. That was still a downer ending because it's ending with Sami Zayn getting his ass kicked. A great moment. That pop when Zayn hit Roman with the chair. Fantastic moment. Still a downer instead of lifting the crowd on everything. Elimination Chamber, they tried to do here's Kevin Owens to make the nobody wanted that. They wanted Sami as the champion. Mania.
And I said at that time, the way that you get around it, because I agree that Roman probably should have won. I'm not on the side of, you changed the course because Sami got hot. If your course is Roman's going to be the champion for 1,000 days, he needed to win there. But you at least do the Sami Zayn Kevin Owens hug. I don't care how much you like.
Yeah, they didn't even give away the hug. You're right.
I was like, I don't care how much you like the weeks after that they built to the hug. They should have gave the hug right there in Montreal because that's how you give the fans the real happy ending instead of the you give them the plan B happy ending instead of the plan A happy ending of Sami winning. You at least give them the plan B. He gave them neither.
You could go back first. Survivor Series. What are we ending with there at Survivor Series? Bloodline standing tall. A downer ending. The Bloodline is not defeated. Again, great story. I'm not trying to minimize the story of what they were doing with Bloodline, especially Rumble Survivor Series. Not doing that at all because that was good. Crown Jewel. Bloodline standing tall. Downer ending with, I don't know if Logan Paul winning would have been an up ending.
Not much better. Yeah. The last one that was really like a happy, real happy ending was Bray Wyatt returning Extreme Rules.
Yeah, Extreme Rules was an up.
See how well that went for him, right? Bray Wyatt, he's been on every single show since, right? Been having great matches and great promos, right? It's been totally fine. And even in this instance of Backlash, Cody Rhodes winning, you would think that that's a great ending. He gave you the happy end of the babyface win. No, babyface got a fluke victory and then ran away. What?
Did he earn it? Let's talk about a different mistake Triple H has made. This World Heavyweight title tournament. People were immediately outraged when it's like, oh, by the way, SmackDown people are just going to be in this thing as well. It's like, cool. So it's a Raw title that SmackDown people can compete for because we just did a draft, and then SmackDown, that person, if they win, can go over to Raw, I guess. Why just maybe do the draft a week later? Maybe, just have Raw people since this is who you went after. I understand they want to open the field a little bit. I think that actually makes sense because if I'm people on SmackDown, I'd probably be like, yeah, I actually want a chance to compete for this title because otherwise I'm here with this person who never shows up. So yeah, give me a chance to compete for this championship. But the timelines did not match at this at all. And then so it's 2 triple threat matches. The winners meet in the main event, and then the winners of the main event meet at Night of Champions. So we have Seth Rollins, Miz, Nakamura, Cody, Finn Balor, Damian Priest on the Raw side. We have Edge, Rey Mysterio, Sheamus, Bobby Lashley, Austin Theory, AJ Styles on the SmackDown side. How do you think this plays out, SP3? Who do you think comes out of Raw tonight? And then who do you think comes out of SmackDown on Friday?
I think it's a no-brainer in what everybody has been saying since this World Heavyweight Championship was introduced, that Seth Rollins is going to come out of the Raw side. And, Worth Wrestling put out the report that they're going to use this tournament and the inclusion of Cody Rhodes, which I kind of called that too, Jeremy, because everybody was like, oh, well, Cody has to go to SmackDown in this draft. And I was like, Cody's probably going to Raw. He's probably going to Raw. He's probably going to go to Raw. And then all you people that were in support of this World Heavyweight Championship is going to be scratching your head because Cody's going to be included in this tournament. And here we are. He's included in this tournament. But Worth Wrestling made me feel a little bit better that, they're going to use this as another catalyst in the Brock Lesnar feud. So Brock is going to probably be the reason why Cody doesn't advance in this one. Keep telling the story before you finish it. Keep telling it further. And then Seth will advance on Raw. On SmackDown, I was very puzzled because I thought it was another no-brainer that Solo Sikoa was going to be in this tournament and that he would be the representative from SmackDown to follow up on basically them setting up a Seth Rollins versus the Bloodline or versus Roman Reigns matchup on last week's Raw. So I thought that they, read the room and heard the reaction to that and people wanting to see Seth go against the Bloodline, and they would have Solo Sikoa be the representative in this one. So that was a little bit puzzling. But when you look at the field over on SmackDown, I think it's one of three people. It's either AJ Styles, Bobby Lashley, or Edge. I'm going to take out Bobby Lashley because they've kind of done that match a lot, Bobby Lashley and Seth Rollins, when they were both on Raw. Seth Rollins and Edge, they had their rivalry, a great rivalry in 2021. I don't know if you go right back to that, but Edge making it to the finals would make a little bit more sense of him beating the Demon Finn Balor at WrestleMania. They were trying to heat him up before they give him a big time matchup for the World Heavyweight Championship. But if I am the booger, if I'm Triple H, I think the best decision is to immediately put AJ Styles back in a top position. Do AJ and Seth in the finals of the World Heavyweight Championship tournament. And then, Seth will beat AJ at Night of Champions, and then AJ will be in a better position when he goes back to SmackDown and he can be one of the challengers for Roman Reigns coming up.
Do you think AJ actually challenges Reigns? I feel like if AJ, after he does all this, goes into like a program with like Austin Theory, AJ and Reigns would be great. Look, AJ and Reigns would be great because then you could do Bullet Club or OC matches against Bloodline, and like I'm all for that. It just feels like I don't think AJ is part of that Bloodline stuff right now. I don't know what they're doing with the Bloodline stuff, honestly, because they're dragging out the Solo Uso things. They still won at Backlash, so they're still like in a decent position off of all of this. I don't know if it's quite over with Riddle. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens can still appear on SmackDown, so they'll probably still be interspersed there a little bit. I don't think they have an idea of where they're going to end when it comes to the Bloodline and Roman and all of that. As far as the World Heavyweight title goes, Rollins seems like the no-brainer. Yeah, Cody being in it is certainly, let's get to Brock. It's a triple threat match as well, so he doesn't have to take any type of pinfall if he's not going to win. I imagine that's how they stay out of it, because I don't think, like, if they really want to heat Seth wins his triple threat match, Cody wins his triple threat match, Seth beats Cody clean. Main event tonight, Seth beats Cody clean. No Brock left. Brock can come out afterwards and beat up Cody if you want to destroy it. But Seth lost to this man 3 straight times. Cody went through a damn war with Brock at Backlash. You can sell that, Cody's just really banged up against Seth. Seth finally, 4th time is the charm. Seth is elevated here because he finally got past Cody. You tell the story of adversity for this ain't the same Cody. Barely survived Brock Lesnar. Couldn't even beat Seth Rollins. Like, this ain't the same Cody. Let's keep him down here a little bit before for Mania 40, get him way back up here for Roman Reigns. I think if you really want to make a statement on Raw tonight, that's what you go with. You go with Seth beating Cody clean in the main event. They'll probably go with Brock interfering, taking Cody out of his triple threat match, and then The Miz wins, and then we get a Seth Rollins and Miz main event tonight.
Because they had a great match a few weeks ago, but I don't want to see it again.
If anybody else is going to main event, if it's not Seth and Cody, I hope Priest gets it just for the work he did on Saturday. Put him in that main event spot against Seth Rollins.
Yes, I think one of the triple deaths should be Seth, Shinsuke, and Balor. I think that would be a banger 3-way matchup. And yeah, I would love for Damian Priest to kind of give him something for that amazing performance, a WWE Match of the Year candidate that he had with Bad Bunny. That was very akin. I don't know if you read it this way, but this is how I read it. They basically booked it like Shane McMahon in the early 2000s. Where Bad Bunny played the role of the plucky babyface Shane, who is not skilled as a wrestler, but because of wacky weapons, he can keep up with anyone. And I loved how they booked that. It was perfectly booked and presented. You had the big moments with the returns and everything, but Damian Priest felt like the best wrestler in the world on that night. Just how he was presented. He presented himself as like this monster heel who is just playing with his food, who could have beat Bad Bunny like 5 minutes in with South of Heaven, but he just wanted to keep beating up on one of the biggest music stars in the world. It was just so well represented, and I totally agree with you. I think Damian Priest needs to at least make it to the finals on tonight's Raw.
Yeah, I would put Priest in the finals against Rollins tonight. If they're not going to do Rollins and Cody, I like that idea better just from a Seth Rollins perspective to like really heat him up going into the championship match. But if it's not him, I think it should be Damian Priest. Over on SmackDown, Edge, Ray, Sheamus, Lashley, Theory, AJ. Man, they're going to go with like Theory. They're going to go with like Rollins and Theory here. I understand maybe they don't want to beat Austin Theory in a singles match against Seth Rollins, and maybe that's why they don't. I'm just preparing for worst case scenario over here. You can have, obviously, it's a triple threat match. Theory doesn't have to take a loss in that, so you can protect your United States champion. I do think, legitimately, I think it comes down to Edge or AJ. I think it comes Edge because he has the history with Rollins. Another world title for Edge. It looks good on the resume. You don't know how much longer he's going to have. Edge is being involved in Saudi one way or another. He's getting that payday one way or another. This is an easy way to include him without having to do a quick and short program for him. Because Edge, for the most part, likes to do these big programs. Right? Like he does these big matches. He doesn't do just these typical, hey, let's just have a one-off type of thing at a pay-per-view. Like it's a built-up thing for him. And with this, given how little time they have to actually build it, just putting him in this world title match isn't easy. Hey, let's just go ahead and do this match instead of trying to heat up a program in 2 or 3 weeks. AJ's the other guy that makes sense simply because he's AJ Styles. Everybody really likes him. He's a great wrestler. You get an AJ and Seth match out of it, which would be great. So that's why he makes sense. I think in the end, I think they go with Edge. I think Edge is the guy that ends up winning on SmackDown, and he faces Rollins. There's the built-in story with those two. And this is how I think you can make the title mean a little bit something. You have Rollins beating Omos, cool super stomp at Backlash. You have him win his triple threat match. You have him beat Cody, who he could not overcome last year, lost that Hell in a Cell match. You have him beat Edge, who he could not overcome like 2 years ago, lost that Hell in a Cell match. Like you have him beat these guys, and it's like, oh, Seth really is like in 2023, he is that guy right now. So you have him get back 2 big wins that he couldn't overcome the past 2 years. But here on his way to winning this title, he does overcome both those guys and he gets this title. And I think it helps the title mean a little bit of something as well. That's how I'd book it. That's my, theory that I'm going to throw out there if they wanted to make it mean a little bit, at least in my eyes. I'm very much looking forward to The Miz and Austin Theory at Night of Champions for the World Heavyweight title.
Oh man, that would be classic WWE. Classic WWE not giving us what we want. But yeah, I like that booking because yeah, you need Seth to kind of redeem himself, the redemption tour, the restoration of the visionary across this, build up to Night of Champions. And you really do have to make this World Heavyweight Championship mean something. And whoever holds it should be viewed as that guy. If he's not the number one guy, because Roman Reigns has 2 world championships, if he's gonna be the guy for Monday Night Raw, then you at least have to have him. Yeah, I think that is a great idea. Him getting his win back against Cody. Do I see it happening? No, I don't. I don't see it happening because they have let Cody have one loss his entire time back in WWE, and it took the Usos, Solo Sikoa, and everyone else for that to happen at WrestleMania 39. So I don't see him, because he's too tired or beaten up from the Brock Lesnar match, winning at WWE. I mean, losing on Raw this week against Seth Rollins. I just don't see it happening. I much see, Brock getting involved in the triple threat match and costing them that. Him beating, Damian Priest in like a big matchup that makes Damian Priest look as big of a monster as he made Omos look. I can see that happening, and that makes Seth look good going into Night of Champions. But the one part I do agree with is that maybe, yeah, he needs to face Edge to kind of redeem himself from that rivalry in 2021. And I also agree, Edge loves those Saudi paydays. So I think that, yeah, you do the rematch, and the last time they faced was in the Hell in a Cell in Saudi Arabia at Crown Jewel 2021. So it's a full circle type of moment where Seth can get that win back against Edge. Edge has his built-in story, and I feel more confident in Edge telling a separate story on SmackDown and Rollins telling a separate story on Raw on the build-up to Night of Champions a little bit more than I would AJ Styles building up his own story, because with Edge, it's all about, oh, this is gonna, I already said, I'm gonna retire, and he can bring up that, in August, SmackDown is going to be in Toronto. And I said last year, I'm going to retire in Toronto. So I only have 4 months to accomplish my goal here of winning one last World Heavyweight Championship before I retire. So this is my chance to do that at Night of Champions against someone that I have a lot of history against, with Seth Rollins. I could see promos over the next 2 weeks with Edge saying that, and then Rollins talking about how much this World Heavyweight Championship means to him because he was never able to get his rematch with Roman Reigns that he deserved, and it was pretty obvious they should have done. But he could say all of that, and I think that I feel more confident in those guys telling their separate stories and not having to break the whole brand split even more than they have with this whole World Heavyweight Championship tournament.
They're going to do it, SP3. First off, Edge is going to sit there in the middle of his ring in his chair. He's going to pull his hair back, and he's going to Seth Rollins the next time we face off. We return to the scene of where it all happened the last time. Seth Rollins, Saudi Arabia. The last time we were in Saudi Arabia, Hell in a Cell. We went through hell together, and we left a piece of ourselves there in Saudi Arabia, inside Hell in a Cell. And I walked out victorious. And at WWE Night of Champions, with the World Heavyweight title on the line, Seth Rollins, nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change, Seth. It's going to be the same thing. You think this is your moment. You think this is your time. You're a visionary. You're going to lead WWE into the future. Seth, this is my last shot, Seth. This is it for me. If I don't get it done here, I don't know if I'm going to get another shot. You are the future. I'm the present. This is it for me, Seth. I'm ready to go out there. I'm ready to leave a piece of myself in that ring once again. Can you say the same thing, Seth? I'll see you at Night of Champions, Saudi Arabia, World Heavyweight title.
I love you. You probably hit that promo to a T. Except that Edge doesn't have long hair anymore, so he can't do, he can't do all of that. And then all you're gonna get from Seth Rollins back is that.
Michael rules though. So good.
I am once in a generation, Edge. And Edge, you may have done it before, but you won't do it again. All you will hear in Saudi Arabia is new World Heavyweight Champion Seth freaking Rollins. And then all the people in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia will be singing my song. Oh, oh.
I know. Like nobody needs to watch the weekly product. We just cut it off for you right there. By the way, if it's Edge, if it's AJ, if it's Seth, it doesn't matter who's in this thing. They're appearing on the other show. SP3. They're appearing on the other show. Seth is going to show up to SmackDown. Edge is going to show up to Raw. They are appearing on the other show. And they will call it as, oh, we got to build the World Heavyweight title type of thing. They're going to appear, though. They ain't keeping them separate. I hope they do. I think it'll make it a bigger moment when they finally do, face off in Saudi Arabia. It's like, oh, we have not seen these two men touch, get physical, anything. I thought that was the brilliant thing about Roman and Cody in the build-up to Mania. Is they never got physical. It's just promos and stare downs and everything. I was like, oh, this is big. I didn't feel like we've seen this. Obviously, we've seen Seth and Edge and we've seen these matches before, so it's not that level. But it does add a little bit of mystique to it when I haven't seen these guys punch each other in the face. The week of the show, we have not seen them interact at all. It's just been two separate promos here. Now they're finally getting there. Now they're finally going to be able to fight over the third most prestigious title in WWE. Here we go. But it ain't happening. They're showing up. Edge is going to attack Seth. He's going to be doing his singing and dancing in the middle of the ring. There comes a spear. Seth is going to show up the next that week on SmackDown. Going to hit him with a stomp. They're going to show up. 100%.
Please don't do. Come on.
They can't help themselves.
I know they can't help themselves, but it's just Jesus Christ. So you're telling me that no matter what happens, if the SmackDown side of this brand, of this whole tournament wins, then SmackDown wasted a pick. They wasted a pick because now this person is Raw exclusive. It makes no sense. This whole thing. I said it from the very beginning when they introduced this championship. No. Triple H put a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. He was like, "Oh, this is how we're gonna solve the problem of Roman not being a part-time champion. We're not gonna split the titles, even though I had chances to do that. No, we're gonna create a whole new world title that I'm gonna tell everybody Roman can't compete for because he's on SmackDown, yet I have SmackDown people competing for the title."
Here's what they should do. So let's say Edge wins. Let's say Edge wins this tournament, right? And so your point about them wasting a pick. If I'm SmackDown executives, I realize they don't do any of this stuff, but if I'm SmackDown executives, I'll be like, we drafted him. He's going to be on our show. Sorry about you. He was our pick. He's one of our players. You want him? You want to make a trade? Okay. We'll make a trade with you. But otherwise, we're keeping this guy. Because why would SmackDown, after they drafted this guy, just be like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we'll just have Edge go over to Raw so we can defend the title. That's fine. That's all good. We're cool with that. We just took him in the second round. What if Austin Theory wins? Austin Theory was their top pick. What if Austin Theory wins?
U.S. title. U.S. title. Yeah. They lose 2 titles and a pick. Like, what type of cockamamie freaking draft trade is this? They got nothing in exchange for 2 titles and a pick. What? That's the worst. That's the worst trade I've heard since the Lakers traded Kwame Brown for Pau Gasol. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, SmackDown's gotta pull out and just be like, look, can't have this. You got to make a deal, or else we're keeping these titles. Respect the draft out here. Respect the draft. Who's a Fox executive? Ooh, I don't know who the Fox executives are. Get him on television and just get Steve Harvey out there. Steve Harvey's on Fox all the time. He's hosting Family Feud. Get Steve Harvey out there.
Put Terry Bradshaw out there.
Yeah, this
Terry
ain't flying.
Bradshaw. Come on, man.
There you go, Terry Bradshaw. That's a good shout. This ain't working. This ain't working for me. No, we got to get somebody in return here. That's what needs to happen. That's what this draft.
And then a USA gonna come back with Chris Lee's No Best.
Oh, I mean, live from the jail cell with him behind bars. Just like,
hey, Sean made an album from jail, so I mean, Chris Lee can represent Monday Night Raw from jail.
And they're gonna appear on the other show. The draft that Natalya said it. Natalia's like, I got drafted, but that doesn't mean I can't appear on the other brand. It's like, no, Natalya, that's what it's supposed to be. She knows. They all know.
The whole draft doesn't make sense. We just had a pay-per-view where 2 SmackDown stars competed for the Raw Women's Championship, where the Raw's #1 draft pick defended the SmackDown Women's Championship. The NXT Women's Tag Team Champions belong on SmackDown. They defended their titles this past week against a Raw tag team. It all doesn't make sense.
It's not going to. Maybe who's Bianca, even though she's a SmackDown person, she's the Raw champion, she's going to show up tonight. She'll be like, hey, here I am. Like, wait, why? Maybe this is their way of having the women just be on both shows. It's like, all right, well, technically she's the Raw champion, but she needs to be on Raw, but she's a SmackDown drafted superstar, so she needs to be on SmackDown. So this is how you get them on both shows.
And this is what I thought at Backlash, they would have just done it in a backstage segment. They would have done the belt swap because that's what they're going to do. They're going to do a belt swap. They should have just done it in a backstage segment at Backlash. Backstage segment, just be like, okay, Rhea, you won. You defended your title.
Here's what they should have done. Here's what they should have done. So they both had matches at Backlash, right? I know they weren't right one after the other. At least I'm pretty sure they weren't, but they should have been. Okay, they should have been, right? They should have been one after the other. Bianca won. She's leaving. Rhea's coming out, all right? And they just bump into each other. And they both drop their title. And then they just pick up the wrong one. And then they just keep walking like nothing happened. Just see if anybody notices that they just picked up the other title.
What movie is that where you pick up like the wrong bag where you bumped into each other?
Yeah.
And you pick it's like one of those movies where you like pick up you both have a suitcase. One's got a suitcase with papers, the other's got a suitcase with $1 million, and you pick up the guy with the papers picks up the one with the $1 million. That's
what they should have done. And then they just keep going about their business. Rhea defeats Zelina. She's holding up the Raw Women's title after Bianca just held up the Raw Women's title after defeating Io. It's like, wait a second. They just don't say anything. They don't acknowledge it at all. They continue on. Just never mention it at all. And obviously the fans are like, what is happening? But if you just don't say it and you just keep going with it, eventually it's just like, well, whatever. Guess this is their way of doing it. It's better than a belt swap.
I mean, anything is better than a belt swap. I don't know why they thought this was a good idea. And it's just like, all of this I said from the very beginning, Rhea should have just beat Bianca for the Raw Women's Championship if she's going to be the Raw Women's Champion. But no, WWE wants to accomplish 2 things in one. They wanted Bianca to set the record as the longest reigning Raw Women's Champion and longest Women's Champion of the modern era. And now she's going to end that reign by having to give it up and get the SmackDown Women's Championship.
Io should have beaten her on Saturday.
Give it up for Io Sky, the honorary Puerto Rican.
She was so over. That's like they don't do calling audibles because if they did, they would have done it by now. Man, that's just a moment where, ooh, maybe we should just go with this. Like the reaction, so good, and then because they don't got plans for Bianca, it's all about just hey, let's hit the modern day reign here. That's it. They don't have any actual plans for her.
The only plan they have is for her to hold the title because she's doing the reality show. She's doing that reality show, so that's why I kept telling people were trying to tell me, oh, Io's got a chance. I was like, not with Bianca making a reality show. They're going to keep that title on her for a little bit longer before they eventually figure it out. And guess who's going to end that reign? You know who's going to end that reign. We all know who's going to end that reign, right?
Hashtag bow down. The queen, baby.
Charlotte Flair, number 15. Number 15 is going to end the reign probably at SummerSlam. We're going to at least SummerSlam. If you want a reign to end at SummerSlam, it's more likely to be Bianca's than Roman's.
All right, guys. Right now, we are joined by independent professional wrestler. He is the dog in Hot and Dog. He might be the hot. We'll see. We'll figure out which is which. Wrestling Nick Aldis this weekend. He is Matt Brannigan. Matt, how are you doing? Look at this. What does this coffee mug say?
This Stan's Donuts. It's a place in Chicago or something.
Very nice.
It has a hole in it. It's pretty cool.
Oh my gosh.
That's dope.
Yeah, it's rad. Also, I'm the hog and Hagen Dog.
Hagen Dog. All right,
yeah.
I apologize.
Love it.
Oh, it's cool. Oh, my cat's coming through.
Oh, this is the second straight show. We've just had a cat run in. Just join in there. There we go.
Wagging the tail. Just did the tail dance for us.
Yeah, she's crazy.
All right, that coffee mug is throwing me off with the hole in it, and you're talking about hogs and everything, Matt. Like what?
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's 10:45 and we're rocking.
Tell me how your partnership with Megabyte Ronnie came together, because we've had Megabyte Ronnie on the show, famous eater, and hog and dog out there. How did that come together?
It was actually just a pretty serendipitous little thing, where a lot of people on Twitter would mention that we kind of looked alike. That we both have blonde hair, long blonde hair. At the time, I think his hair was long. A couple buff guys, mustaches. So that's how we came in contact. It was just people, get out of here. I'm throwing her down. Get out of here. It was just people telling us that we should link up. So we eventually did. I think I DM'd him or something, and we talked for a little bit. And we're like, yeah, that'd be a pretty funny team. I think some fans thought of the name and everything. And then Black Label Pro booked it like a year later. So now we're rocking. My cat's back, by the way. You can't be stopped.
What's the cat's name?
This is Arwen.
Arwen.
Yeah, from Lord of the Rings.
Oh.
She hit
like the setup too.
Oh, thank you.
What's it like teaming with Megabyte Ronnie, and specifically, what's it like being on the road with that man as he wants to eat everything in sight?
It's a good time, man. I really like teaming with him in the short time we've been doing it. He's just like freakishly jacked and strong. So I like to go to the gym with him and just watch him like move crazy weight. He's just he's a madman. And I like to tag out and watch him toss people around because, it's hard for me to toss people around. I'm not very big, but Ronnie's a giant. It's crazy. I don't even think he needs to ever tag me in. He can just do everything himself. But I'm there to like do funny stuff. So there's that. And being on the road with him is pretty cool. Like he hooks me up with like good snacks. He'll like put over good snacks. Like, hey, you got to try this thing. And I'll be like, hell yeah. He knows all the good food. And I like to eat a lot too. Not competitively, but for pleasure. So yeah, he hooks me up.
What's the best food he's gotten you to try?
I'm like a candy man, so he's got me kind of more into like gummies and stuff. That I guess he's like a big sucker for gummies at gas stations on the road. So now I'm kind of getting into gummies, though I'm usually exclusively like a peanut butter guy, like a Reese's fiend. But I'm branching out a little bit now.
All right, do you freeze your Reese's?
I have before. It's quite good.
Yeah, that's the best. Right,
what's your opinion of white chocolate Reese's?
It's
always controversial from Reese's fans.
I'm cool with them. They're not as good as the original, but they'll do in a bind. If you buy that big bag that has like the variety in them, it's a nice change of pace, you know.
Matt, you made a couple appearances on AEW Dark and Dark Elevation. How did those appearances come together?
I don't know. They just sort of did. They just reached out and asked me to be there and get beat up. I don't know. I don't know if someone told them I get beat up very well, but I do. They're like, hey, he looks okay, and he gets beat up well. And they're like, perfect. We got just the spot for this guy. But yeah, I went the one time, and I just think that they liked me. I don't know, because then they just invited me back a couple more times, and it was fun.
You got any advice from anybody backstage, whether it's a veteran or just really anybody backstage at AEW?
Not really. It's like super chill backstage there. Like, the only real advice, you get is just the general, like, keep at it stuff. But I didn't get any like specific advice. Everyone's just kind of there chilling, hanging out. It almost doesn't feel like live TV is happening when you're there because it's like super relaxed. At least the times I was there, you're kind of like standing around, joking around with people, and I'm like, oh shit, I have to go out on TV real quick. Like, don't do it. It's really strange because from what I've heard, I've never done like extra work at WWE, but from what I've heard, that's like a really stressful environment, or at least it used to be. I don't know if it still is, but yeah, it's interesting contrast.
What do you think about AEW Dark and Dark Elevation kind of ending, and what that kind of means for like independent stars and getting opportunities like that?
It's kind of a bummer just because I feel like it quickly became such like a staple of independent wrestling was like the Dark or Elevation spots. So it was kind of a bummer to see it end, but I don't know. I guess there's still opportunity. Maybe there's just less of them now. I don't know what's going to come of the new AEW show, if that's going to present more opportunities. But I don't know. I think everyone's just going to have, excuse me, everyone's just going to have to work harder, I guess. It was a lot of opportunity, but, opportunity's still there. Just people just got to work for it, I guess. It's not going to be as easy now. But
Were you mistaken for Chris Jericho backstage?
all the time. I started wrestling like 11 years ago, and that was like as soon as I started, that was the thing. And it was kind of funny back then because like Jericho's like a whole new guy now. He's become like one of the top dudes ever. Like it's like when I started, it was like I think Jericho had been retired for a little bit. I don't know. It was kind of like this whole thing. Oh yeah, Jericho, and I would do like some Jericho moves, like, oh yeah, he's not using this anymore, and now he's using them, and it's like, okay, I can't pretend to be Jericho anymore because now he's like top AEW guy. So, but I haven't done that in years. But yeah, people have been saying that to me for a long time. I think that's what made me grow a mustache in the first place. Was like, all right, I gotta do something.
Oh, until Jericho reinvents himself, and then he's copying you when he comes out with the mustache.
If he puts on a bathrobe and has a mustache and has a mug with a hole in it, I'm gonna shit myself.
Next talk is Jericho. Just wait.
Matt, you're facing Nick Aldis this weekend. How did that match come together, and what can fans expect for it?
I'm not really sure how it came together. I know New Wave always likes to bring in some good talent, some big names. I think originally they were hoping for Scotty 2 Hotty, and he had to cancel. But they found a really good replacement last minute with Nick Aldis. That's like, I know it's hard to like last minute book big names, but they pulled it off. So I'm not really sure what to expect. I was watching some Nick Aldis matches last night, and I was like, all right, I think we're gonna have an old school crowd working 20 to 30 minute classic here. I personally, I can't speak for Nick, but he has some crazy. Before I say this, I should preface it with I like to do the purple nurple as a move. He has some crazy nipples.
Oh, that's such an easy headline. Just Matt Brannigan, Nick Aldis has crazy nipples. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. I got you. I know how to get the clicks. It's true. Like that's all I could think about. So I don't know. I'm just excited for that. He's jacked. I'm gonna ask him how, like, what do you eat? What do you lift? I need to get more jacked. How do you do it? are you on steroids? If so, cool.
It's just our secret. It's just our secret.
I don't. It's just me. Do you know how to get a discount on steroids? You know, stuff like that. But yeah, I'm excited to wrestle them. It'll be a nice change of pace at New Wave. New Wave does a lot of like cool, like more contemporary, like indie style stuff. So I'm excited for the matchup variety of having this kind of like slower NWA style with him, and just being able to kind of play around and feel it out and just see what happens.
I was gonna ask you about your OnlyFans.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So what is it like being a male content creator on OnlyFans?
It's pretty chill. I can't imagine it's much different for me than it is for women who do it. But yeah, it was weird for a while, like doing it. I think people thought it was like a bit or like a gimmick or something when I first started doing it a few years ago. And now I feel like everyone's just accepted that I do it, and it's not as weird anymore. It's not kind of like a point of humor anymore, though I still joke about it a lot. But yeah, everyone's accepted that I'm just doing this weird thing.
What got you to start the OnlyFans? Because I mean, there is for some people there's a stigma on it of like, oh, you're on OnlyFans, and usually it's on the female side of things. So, but like, what got you actually started doing it?
I don't know. I just see women were using it, and it's like, man, they're getting some side income there, some nice little side hustle. Like I could use a side hustle. I'm an independent pro wrestler, which basically means that I lose money constantly. I need something to cancel out that. So it kind of just started originally as like I need help to keep wrestling as often as I wanted to, with like traveling and things. And then I just kept doing it because it's been pretty chill. It's been pretty nice.
Besides the losing money part, what's like the toughest part about being an independent wrestler and traveling and making all these days with different promotions?
The toughest part? I don't know. I think it's tough once you start doing it for a long time. I think it kind of gets mentally tough to kind of just see like, is this going anywhere? Like, am I wasting all of my time? Because for me, I'm 57 years old. I've been wrestling for 11 years, and I'm at a point now where it's like, is anything even coming to this? Like, can I? Is it too late to do something else with my life? But the first like 8 years, it wasn't that hard. Nothing was really tough about it. It was fun to make the towns and stuff. But as you get older and losing money and getting beat up and stuff, you're like, all right, this it all starts to weigh on you. So it's not really one thing that's tough. It's just the weight over time. It starts to wear you down. But once you do it, it's fun. So like once I get to the show and have the match, I'm like, oh, that was a good time. But I think as I get older, I have trouble with getting rent. Like on show day, I'm like, I should quit. I should quit wrestling right now. I don't want to get in the car. I don't want to do this. This is stupid. And then I get there. I'm like, oh, that was lovely. I had a good time.
What are your overall goals for wrestling?
I don't know. I always had pretty lofty goals with it. I never really wanted to get signed. I mean, it'd be nice, but I think when I started and my trainer asked me what my goal was, I said, if I could have one match in Japan, I'll be happy. I'll be all set. And so I think that's still my only goal is wrestling in Japan one time, just one time. That's all I need. After that, I don't know. It would be nice to get a contract because I feel like I'm pretty good. I've been around a while. It'd be nice, but it's not needed. I think personally, just a Japan thing is all I need. Or to wrestle who's someone really famous, but like weird famous.
Yano,
like,
you versus Yano.
That would be magic.
That would actually be sick. I was gonna go for something like obscure and stupid, but that's just a good one. I was gonna say like Bastion Booger or some shit.
Oh, okay. I'm for that though.
I like yours better.
I was gonna say with the nipple twist as one of your moves, you would fit in very well with DDT.
I think so too. And not only just nipple twists, I can do it all. I can slap a butt. I can sack tap. I can do anything. That's range.
Exactly.
Do you ask them the capital of Thailand before you do the sack tap?
Hey, that'd be a funny setup. I actually don't. I've never even thought about doing that. See, look at
There
it.
you go.
Maybe I'll do it to Nick Aldis.
There you go.
I got to ask you about this. This was a big topic on the internet a month ago, so it's way surpassed at this point. You were at Black Label Pro at the Squared Circle Expo. There was an incident there with somebody ruining somebody's moment. A person who may or may not run this website, DDTing a person who is on vacation from Australia. Should this man have been jumped in the back for what he did?
I mean, maybe. He came back. I had no idea what happened. He came back. I'm like, hey, man, how you doing? How was it out there? And he's like, it was fine. It's cool. We're just chilling. Turns out he was just a huge evil piece of shit, but I was just sitting there chilling with him.
Right.
I had no idea. I would have jumped him myself. I had no idea.
Did he shake hands? Was he friendly in the back or anything?
He's I try to keep my distance from the reporter types, I didn't get too close. I don't know, but he seemed chill, but apparently he's pure evil from what I've seen on the internet.
Worst.
Yeah, he hides it well. He just seems like wholesome little apple cheek guy. Like, oh, he's so cute, little dimples, and then he's just out there being pure evil.
Next time you see him, twist his nipples.
I will. I won't say one thing, and I'll be like, hey, what's the capital of Thailand? And I'll grab his nipples. What? It's the wrong setup.
He'll never see it coming, though. That's the thing.
Exactly.
He'll protect his down there, and I'll get him up there.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be like the Arn Anderson fake out.
All right, this is actually a tremendous move here.
Not bad. Not bad. I'm keeping this one.
Oh, Matt, we appreciate you joining us today. Thank you.
problem.
Thank you for the time. Thank you for the coffee mug, which is absolutely amazing.
I knew you'd like it. I had to pick the perfect mug. I'm like, I think this is the one.
Let everybody know where they can find you at and where they can support you at.
You can find me on the Twitters, Matt_Brannigan. I'm on Instagram. I don't really use it, so don't even bother finding me there. OnlyFans /Matt_Brannigan if you want to support or see me naked. That's always a thing here. You don't have to. There's no pressure. I don't care. You buy some merch on the internet, Pro Wrestling Tees. DM me. I have merch too. That's about it. I'm a simple man.
I do have one more for you that I missed to bring up. You're from Ohio. You know how terrible it is. Can you say one thing about Ohio?
A good thing about Ohio?
Yeah.
That's a thinker.
It's tough. I know. I only asked the tough question.
I will say no. Wait, that's Indiana. Oh, okay. There's a bar in Dayton, Ohio that I enjoy called DK Effect, and they just have arcade games and pinball and skee ball and an eclectic group of strange people. And that's it. That's all I can think of with Ohio. I mean, my family's there, but I can get them out of there. They're my family in any state. Who cares about Ohio?
My wife just texted me, and she popped her. She said, "I know the owner of DK Effect. It's my friend Tony."
Oh shit! That's crazy. Will I get a free drink for the plug? Will I get it?
There you go. We'll ask. We'll see if we can get you a free drink next time we go to DK Effect.
Heck yeah! Now we're rocking.
All right. Well, thank you, Matt. We really appreciate
Thanks,
you.
Matt.
No problem.
She said she will ask. She will ask if next time you're there, just be like,
Right.
I'll give you the shoot name and everything. I know this person. Can I get a free drink? And
I'll be there in a bathrobe with no shirt on. And
there you go.
I think
Very
that's good.
Matt, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Everybody, check him out on social media. Check out the match with Nick Aldis this weekend at New Wave Pro Wrestling. Again, Matt, appreciate it. Tell Megabyte Ronnie we said hello. He's a fantastic man. We love him.
It was his birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, Ronnie.
Nice.
Happy belated birthday.
Happy
Ronnie.
birthday.
The Hog from Hog and Dog, Matt Brannigan. Got it this time. Thank you again for joining us, man.
Thank you so much.
Oh, what a great dude. What a
Yeah,
great dude.
So funny.
Immediately popping me with the coffee mug with the donut hole in the middle. I'm like, what? Oh, okay. What do we got here?
Great coffee mug. The cat shake their tail feather like they were listening to Nelly's. That was great. Uh, so much character to him. I love it.
Cole Radrick's cat was on the screen a couple weeks ago. Monday just brings the cats out on this show. Last Monday was when Cole's cat made a run in. So apparently Monday is cat day here on In the Weeds moving forward. I hope everybody can remember this. Bring your cats on Monday. The Nick Aldis nipples headline is I love when people just like do that for me. Like they don't. I don't think many people understand that Sean gets all the credit when it comes to everything on this website. But I love when they just give me like an easy headline off of that, and they're like cool with it. They're like, oh yeah, sure, run that. That's great. I'm all for the clicks. Like, hey, appreciate that. Make my job easy. I like that.
You are the master of the headline. You're the master. And
they give me this material.
Exactly.
I hope he does. The Arn Anderson fake out bit with the fake punch DDT. The what's the capital of Thailand? Oh no, not doing it.
And then go for the nipple.
Oh, that's so good.
If he does that against Nick Aldis, we're taking credit. We're taking credit.
100% taking credit. It's so good. Oh, I don't know how we transitioned to WWE Backlash. I don't have a good way to transition.
Speaking of nipples, did you see Bad Bunny?
Get a shirt on.
Hey, you saw the nipples underneath. He had some pointy ones.
He had some erect nipples when that pop hit. My nipples were getting erect when that pop hit. My God.
Had to go like, oh my God. Hamna. No.
Oh man, we were watching it and like we turned it up. We're like, because we heard the pop on Friday when Bad Bunny came out. And
that was one thing. That was a Road Warrior type of pop. This was like he was at the concert, and
that's
like
the Bad Bunny pop.
They've been waiting all night for him, and just how they shot it was tremendous with the
drone
camera
shot
view
they've been using is really good. I hope they bring that out more often because they did it on SmackDown where they had the drone like come into the arena and then fly around there. Like that was really good. And the drone shot behind him on Saturday was really good. I hope they use that drone shot moving forward because that's good stuff.
It was, and just that was one of the best entrances maybe ever in WWE. I would put it up there with arguably any entrance. Just how it was shot, the reaction, how he played to the crowd, and it was just that the energy of that crowd. You had a series of some of the best pops in WWE in recent memory between Bad Bunny coming out, the Carlito pop. You would have thought that was Stone Cold Steve Austin for the first time, like coming out after 18 years. The way those the Puerto Rican crowd reacted to him. Savio Vega got 2 pops for the backstage segment. You heard the roar even from the backstage in the backstage segment, and then when he came out with the LWO, man, just. Like I said, I gave the match itself a rating, which is one of the highest ratings I gave for any WWE match. I gave it 4.5 stars, but overall, just the spectacle, 5 stars. 5-star spectacle. It's a 5-star spectacle, sports entertainment greatness. The whole thing from start to finish.
5-star match.
It's not a 5-star match.
5-star match, SP3.
It's not a 5-star match, but 5-star for spectacle.
Why was it not a 5-star match? Name me one thing wrong about that match.
Well, Bad Bunny's not a wrestler.
So how is that wrong? Name me one thing that went wrong in that match.
No, like I said, as a spectacle, it was 5 stars.
The match was 5 stars.
Spectacle of a match, yes.
Star ratings are dumb. You do a good job. I'll put you over. You do a good job of not just passing out 5 stars and then, okay, here's now 7 stars and 8 stars because I've broken my own scale of things.
I literally have only gave something above 5 stars, and I had this discussion with my friend Jimmy over on True Hill Heat, and he was like, he wants me to just play 5-star plus for the ones that are above 5 stars. I was like, I actually like that, but I've only gave 3 matches ever above 5 stars. That's it.
What are they?
Austin versus Brett, WrestleMania 13. That was like I retroactively. Because once Dave broke his own star rating, I was like, he's got to go back and now rate different matches over.
I agree with that. I agree that that should probably happen. Just go, if you're gonna break it, now go back and rewatch this because why is this match not 7 stars compared to Will Ospreay versus insert name here?
Yeah. Like he needs to go back, and especially that one specifically. I think that's the greatest WWE match of all time because of importance, the build up, in-ring work, like all the criteria that I have for my ratings that fits the build on everything. So that's why I say that's one I rated above 5 stars. The 4th Okada Omega matchup, the 69-minute one, that's above 5 stars. And then recently was this year, Ospreay and Omega, I gave above 5 stars. That's it. 3 matches all time. That's all I'll give. I think I'll wait another like 4 or 5 years because I have like 5 years in between of rating a match above 5 stars. But not. Like I said, this was everything you would want out of a WWE match. It had the crowd into it. The story was there. The storytelling was really good, and just Bad Bunny putting on as great of a performance as any celebrity has ever gave. And he's not the smoothest in the ring, but he doesn't have to be because he's not a wrestler. This is and I think MLJ put it perfectly on social media. I saw that tweet this morning where he said, this is the equivalent of Michael Jackson coming in 1993 and having a match with a wrestler, having a match. Even if Michael Jackson had a match with Giant Gonzalez, it would have been this good and this big because he's Michael Jackson. Bad Bunny is the equivalent to that in 2023.
That's what I said it on Friday, and Michael Jackson's a much better comparison than I said Jay-Z, like at the peak of Jay-Z. But like, that's what it is with Bad Bunny coming in there is this guy is mega star level, and it ain't the same as a Logan Paul or a Johnny Knoxville. It's not. Like both those guys are stars in their own right, stars in different ways. But yeah, Michael Jackson is a good comparison because like this guy is on top of the music industry, and he does not need to come in and do what he did. And I said it all during the lead up. I'll continue to say it. Could have hosted it, could have done a tag team match, could have just done a little concert, done a song or something. Crowd would have gone crazy for all of it. It's like, nah, man, I'm gonna do like 25-minute street fight.
25 minutes?
Take the table bump. God. Like go through, take the bump off of the equipment through the table, take some weapon shots. Look, was it smoke and mirrors? Yes. It was never going to be some type of like technical masterpiece type of thing. It was always going to be smoke and mirrors. Doesn't matter. The Logan Paul matches are still some smoke and mirrors, whether you want to admit it or not. Maybe they don't use tables and chairs and a bunch of weapons and stuff, but they're smoke and mirrors of how they plan out with their high spots and everything. He doesn't have to do any of that. And this man loves this business so much that he's like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do, man. Like, I'm here. Dude, Saturday night, that man could have just been taking a nap, sleeping, going to the club with Kendall Jenner.
He had like 2 weeks of Coachella. He was at the Met Gala early in the week, and he loved this business.
He could have been doing anything else on a Saturday night with his time. And he's like, I'm going to go out here. I'm going to wrestle. I'm going to take these bumps. Everything. Just so much respect for Bad Bunny. So much respect for that man. I hope he comes back. I hope he wins all the titles. Just every single belt.
He should verse Roman in Saudi. He should be the one. If he got time, if he not going on tour, he don't got a date with Caitlyn Jenner. Like, come on.
Caitlyn. Why is he dating Caitlyn?
Is he? Oh no, not. My bad. It was like one of those Jenners.
You could have named Kylie. You went to Caitlyn.
I knew he's not versus Kylie, so I was like, oh, the next K I had in my head was Caitlyn. Bad Bunny to face Roman Reigns in Night of Champions. That's all. That's what I was getting at.
When Devin Booker wins an NBA title this year, it's going to be Bad Bunny's fault because he's trying to get Kendall Jenner back. That's what's happening there. Because that man ain't missing right now.
No. Kendall Jenner is the cure to the Kardashian curse. Apparently, she's been good. She's blessing people, except for Ben Simmons, but everyone else.
Bad Bunny deserves to dethrone Roman Reigns. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding when I say
I'm not
that.
kidding. He's top 3 celebrity all time.
He'll show up just as much as Roman will at this point. And at least with Bad Bunny, he was taking that 24/7 title everywhere. That thing's ugly as hell. And like, you didn't know that was a WWE title. It looked like, oh, this is like a prop he picked up off the street or something. I'm not saying the WWE titles are the most gorgeous things in the world, but you know those are WWE titles. They got that big old branding on them. He'll take that thing on all these talk shows, SNL, all his concerts. He'll be wearing the legitimate WWE title out there. You know how many people are going to tune in to see Bad Bunny wrestle after seeing him with the WWE title just traveling the country for a month or so, and then he comes back and wrestles? They should put the title on him.
He gonna win the titles and then throw the Universal Championship in the garbage on Jimmy Kimmel. On Jimmy Kimmel Live. He's just gonna throw it. He's gonna throw it in the garbage, be like, I only want the prestigious championship because I love this business. I'm all about the history. Bad Bunny, top 3 celebrity all time. All I want him to do, and
top 3. Okay, if Bad Bunny's top 3, who else is there?
Logan Paul. And it's either the football player from TNA or 2018.
D'Angelo Williams?
Yeah, D'Angelo Williams or
Carolina Panther great.
Yes, or Ronda Rousey in 2018. Not Ronda Rousey now. Ronda Rousey in 2018. That 2018 run.
Okay, so you're talking actual wrestling ability when it comes to this, and like match quality.
I'm talking about overall just being a natural for this business, being a celebrity coming in. I think those are like the peak. But I would put Bad Bunny number 1 after that performance. The only thing I want him to do, and this answers the question of why I don't give it 5 stars, is I don't want him to kill himself on a sliced bread anymore. Don't do the sliced bread, bro. You're not that athletic. You're not that athletic. And dude almost spiked himself. I was like,
yeah, he did.
Yo. And I think that even if he did spike himself, the adrenaline just got him back up. That was the only thing that got him back up.
Yeah, he did almost fight. When he did it, I was like, oh my God, he nearly landed on his head. That looked bad. Whatever. It's the high risk of it. It's still 5 stars. I've only given, not that you asked me, SP3. I've only given 3 matches above 5 stars as well.
What is the 3 matches? Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
I know it.
100%. I love that match so much. Bad Bunny and Damian Priest have now topped the 5-star scale for me.
Okay.
The last one, I'm going to take you back to WWE Raw 2006 SP3.
Kevin Federline versus John Cena?
No, that match sucked. You know what? It's actually the anniversary of this match. I didn't realize it was the actual anniversary of this match. So this makes it even better of this. May 8th, 2006, WWE Raw, SP3, The Big Show, and Kane in the greatest technical masterpiece you've ever seen in your life. Go back, watch this match, everyone.
And this is during the May 19th storyline. I remember that much.
Go back, watch this match, watch the Big Show and Kane do chain wrestling. It is absolutely a spectacle unlike anything else in the world. It is 5 1/4 for me. This matchup is, and it is the first ever match. Like SP3, a retroactive first ever match or 5-star match from me.
That's good.
Those are my 5-star plus matches. It's way better than your.
How much time did that go?
Like 5 minutes? Yeah, that match, it wasn't. I'm going to actually look up how long it was.
I don't remember that match going too long. Like, usually if you can name a date and a time, I know what it's around. And if you said that date, and I was just like, I don't know what he's gonna say now. Like, I don't know what he's gonna say.
It went 5 minutes. It went 5 minutes and ended in a DQ. The perfect match.
5 1/4 for 5 minutes. It was like a star per minute.
That's right. It went 5:16. So there you go. It is a star. It's a star per minute.
A star per minute. Is that even the best technical wrestling exchange Big Show ever had? Everyone knows the best technical wrestling exchange he ever had was with Braun Strowman in 2017. That was excellent. To answer Scott in the chat, he says you're missing Shawn versus Undertaker. Not above 5 stars, but definitely 5 stars. Dave was bugging when he gave that 4 3/4. That is one I always bring up when I talk about Dave's star rating. I'm like, that one and Shawn versus Kurt Angle, he should have gave 5 stars to. And that's why now that he's broken his scale, he should go back and retroactively give these matches 5 stars.
Louis says WLC was 6 stars. You know what? I don't know if you're wrong there.
I don't know if you're wrong. That's the greatest. That's the greatest Little People match of all time.
Yeah, that's another great match. Simeon says Jeremy truly just be saying anything. Yeah, that's facts.
That's truly it. But I love it. I love it that I knew that match only went 5 minutes. I was like, that man had to go like 5 minutes, and then fake Cade came out and caused the DQ probably.
What are we doing serious wrestling discussion for?
If we're just rating on 5-star comedy matches, WLC's up there.
No, these are 5-star matches. Wrestling comes in all types of form. These are 5-star matches.
Oh, I love it. Yano versus John Moxley. That's it.
I'll watch these matches 100 times before I watch a 69-minute Ospreay and Okada and Omega match. Way too long. Those matches are too long, man.
Guy with the best comment on the weed. Great. Yes. What's the 5+ star matches you would watch on the weed?
I definitely ain't watching no 60-minute match.
No. I wouldn't do that.
Those matches, they'll take every bit of 60 minutes and then some. Are you kidding me?
I can't concentrate like that.
No.
I just want to laugh. And yeah, Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn, that would be up there. That's just comedy. So pure comedy. So funny. It's so funny. Any Colt Cabana stuff from like early 2000s, I'd watch that.
I've always said my wheelhouse of matches is like 12 to 18 minutes. Like if it's in like a 12 to 18 minute range, I'm happy with the match. That doesn't matter if it's like actually good, even better. But if it's 12 to 18 minutes, I'm like, yep, we're in a sweet spot right here. You can push 20 if it's a really good match. Bad Bunny, Damian Priest, you can push 25 if it's that level of stuff. You start going 30 minutes and everything. It's not like these matches are good. I love Danielson and MJF from this year. I'm such a hypocrite in that, like Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, that Iron Man match, legitimately one of my favorite matches ever. So like I can.
When was the last time you went back and watched it?
Sean and Brett?
Yeah.
The wife watched it not too long ago, probably in the lead up to WrestleMania. She'll text me here in a second. But
y'all are better than me. I watched it last year for True Rewind, which is up on the channel, some archives, and oh my god, I could not. I was like, they legitimately did headlocks for like 20 minutes. Like,
so here's the thing about that match with me is there's a very high nostalgia factor in that. As she said, we watched it a couple months ago. There's a very, very high nostalgia factor in that WrestleMania 12 was the first wrestling pay-per-view that I ordered. So that's why it'll like always hold a special place of like, oh yeah, it'll bring back like those memories. But I do like the match. I know it's a very divisive match of like you either love that match or you hate that match. Like I do like that match.
I loved it for such a long time, and then I like rewatched it, and I was just like, yeah, I don't love it as much. Honestly, I much rather prefer Michaels versus Diesel the next month. I have more nostalgia for that. That match was great. That had the shenanigans with Mad Dog Vachon's leg and stuff. Oh my god, I love that match a lot on rewatch. I love that match a lot more than I loved Brett versus Sean. I actually loved Brett versus Bulldog at In Your House Seasons Beatings. I don't think that gets enough credit. That's a great matchup.
Yeah, that's a good match as well. People are saying matches legit only be longer than 25, 30 minutes. You can tell a story in 14, 15. A SpongeBob episode is like 10 to 12 minutes. And that's the best show on television. That's all you need. You don't need these long matches.
Episode of Entourage, the real best television show in the world.
That's only like half hour.
Yeah, that's only 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah. You don't need all this time to tell these long stories. If I can watch an episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine and get the same story as a wrestling match, then we're good. If it's longer than an episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I just watched that last night. That's what came to mind. Then I got no time for it.
That much.
Got no time for it. That's a good show, Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I've watched it from time to time. I like it.
I watched it like as it was airing, like on TV. And then I went back and just last night I just started at the beginning just for the fun of it. Of like, here's something mindless I can throw on at night.
I love watching stuff from the beginning. I actually convinced my friend who has his own like TV and movie review. I want to watch Atlanta again. Atlanta's another one. Only 25 minutes. 25 minutes. Those are great. That was one of the best shows on TV before they ended it in season 4 last year.
And that's all you need. But see, seasons or something too. You don't need to go too long on the seasons. Yeah, you got the shows.
10 episodes. 10 episodes is fine.
Well, there's 10. It's just that, and there's also just like you got these shows that are like 20 seasons. Like, nah, you could have finished this in 5, man. We don't need all these extra seasons. What are we doing?
Like my daughter just started watching The Simpsons, and I'm just like, we're only up to like season 12, and I'm like, they have 35 seasons.
See, shows like that are, I mean, The Simpsons is what it is, but shows like that, like
iconic,
stay timely and make all these references and stuff. Like that's a little bit different than a show like what's a show? The Sopranos, the writer strike. Dexter went like a couple seasons too long, although the reboot was really good. I did really enjoy that. But some of these shows just like we don't need these extra seasons here, guys.
Up on the channel, I feel like I'm plugging stuff on the channel through this conversation, but check out our One Tree Hill character tier list. That's another show that went too long. Should have ended after season 6. I always say that. It should have ended after season 6 when Lucas and Peyton left. Just end the show there. You don't need to extend it any longer. There's a bunch of shows like that just Entourage I love, but it should have ended after like season 6. We didn't need to see Vince on drugs. We didn't need to see him recovering from drugs in season 7 and season 8. Should have ended after 6.
You know, it should have ended after the first of the double main events that weren't actually technically main events because they did a cool-down match between them with WWE Backlash with Bad Bunny and Damon Priest. Should have ended the show, and he was live at WWE Backlash and for SmackDown the night before. He was in Puerto Rico. He is from the Bet Las Vegas. Adrian Hernandez, how you doing, buddy?
Boys and girls, what's up, everybody? How are you guys doing? First off, I had a speech, Jeremy, and True Hill. Pleasure to meet you. I've seen you on Twitter. Thank you guys for having me on the show. I had a speech where I was going to complain because I just landed in Vegas like 4 hours ago. Somehow my bag is in Denver, all that stuff. But then I remembered, hold on a second. Jeremy's done like 5,000 podcasts and 10,000 articles since Will's left. So I can't complain. If he's putting in overtime, I'm putting in overtime. My voice is a little raspy. I apologize. Got a little sick. That's what happens when you get on 4 different planes and people sneezing and coughing everywhere. But yes, just got back from Puerto Rico. Like you said, was there for SmackDown, was there for Backlash. I work in sports. You just said it, the Bet Las Vegas. Whether I've been a fan or going there for work, I've been to a college football playoff. I've been to MLB playoffs and NBA finals, the NBA playoffs, UFC, boxing, of course, wrestling and WrestleManias. The only thing I can compare that crowd, whether it was for Friday and certainly for Saturday for Backlash, is Game 6 of the 2016 finals between Cavs and the Warriors, the game where Steph threw his mouthpiece and hit a fan and got ejected and Cleveland was going crazy. That's the only comparable thing I can put it in the world of sports. That crowd, that energy has kept me up. I haven't slept this entire weekend because I can't. I'm like, let me listen to the song and just get hyped. The pride in that arena. And I specifically went and I talked to people from the island that have been there for concerts, that have been there for events. And I'm like, hey guys, is this a different energy? And they're like, yeah, it's a different energy. It's like when we watch the World Baseball Classic and Americans are like, oh, you can have a party in the stands. You just don't have to stand there and cheer when there's a home run. It was ridiculous. It was amazing. I am so glad that I got to be a part of that. I will remember that forever.
How was it on Friday night then compared to Saturday? Because we heard the pop on Friday when Bad Bunny came out, and that was big. And Friday, like, the energy was good for SmackDown, but the show in and of itself wasn't like the greatest thing in the world. Honestly, the crowd was the reason why the show was a little bit better. But then you get to Backlash on Saturday, and it's cooking from start to finish. EO's getting big reaction. Obviously, when Bad Bunny comes out, big reaction. Rhea and Zelina, huge reaction there. Like, how was it from Friday to Saturday? And did you feel even a shift there?
Look, walking into the arena on Friday, and of course the press conference was right in front of the arena the day before, that Friday afternoon. By the way, WWE, you guys are geniuses because it was free to attend that event. And when I tell you, every person that went there as a spectator to watch bought something. I don't care if it's the $15 WWE necklace. I'm like, oh my God, these are thousands of dollars, and this isn't even a show. It was genius. But getting dropped off in front of the arena, you noticed the line that was out the window, which on Twitter, Adrian Radio 93 for people watching, I retweeted, someone took a picture. It was comparable to when COVID happened. But the reason why the line was so long then was because everyone had to stand 6 feet back. That wasn't this. They had to stand all the way past the street, almost 2 blocks away. And that's just the main entrance, not the west side or the 2 other entrances. So the crowd I was like, oh, this is about to be something special. The Carlito pop was like the most, how do I put these tiers of pops? The Carlito pop, since it was a surprise, was different than everyone waiting and anticipating the Bad Bunny entrances. So the Carlito pop was enormous. But when SmackDown started and we saw the drone on the Titantron up top until it got into the arena. And we saw it and we're like, what the hell? Because in my head, I'm like, I know WWE's never done this before. They haven't done a drone for live TV ever. I'm like, oh, they're showing off the island. This is dope. And then, of course, welcome to SmackDown, blah, 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 blah. I thought I was in an earthquake when Rey Mysterio's music hit. People were going nuts. So the energy on Friday was really good. To be honest, like it was cool because I brought my girl with me, and you know, she watches wrestling because she loves me. She's not the biggest fan. She'll watch. I'll watch her shows with her. It's what you do when you're in a relationship. But she's been to a few shows. SmackDown was just here a couple weeks ago, wasn't it? Yeah, it was just here. It was here before WrestleMania. It was the last SmackDown before WrestleMania. And the crowd was pretty good. I'm pretty sure it was close to a sellout. And it was cool. It was a great show. That's where Ray finally punched Dom. And that reaction was insane. But even her, she went to me and she's like, this is nuts. Everyone's been standing the whole time. Everyone's been screaming the whole time. I've never been in a concert like this before, or any type of anything in an event. Like, so for her to not even be, she's below a casual fan, for her to come to me and tell me like, yo, this is incredible. She was upset she wasn't able to come with me to Backlash because the tickets were crazy. And one more thing I'll add for Friday, it was so loud and it was so insane. I didn't realize, I don't know how big you guys are into boxing, but Miguel Cotto, big time boxer, Puerto Rican, I believe he fought Floyd, and he was sitting right in front of us, and I didn't notice until after the show, like, because there was so much craziness that like the celebrities were everywhere. Everybody that's popping from Puerto Rico showed up because it was the event to be at, and I didn't even notice that they were right in front of me. And his wife too is a model and is of high stature and is a celebrity. I didn't notice any of them until afterwards, when on Instagram she's like, whoa, wait a minute, what? We were standing right behind them. So that's how crazy it was that you didn't even notice, because it was mayhem.
That's so dope. I wanted to ask you because, you know, we've all been to different events, and, you know, what I would compare most with the Carlito pop at Backlash is I was at WrestleMania 33 when the Hardys returned. But going into that show, there was always kind of the murmurs and people trying to be like the ones to predict, oh yeah, the Hardys might show up at WrestleMania. Was there like any clue or anybody kind of talking about maybe possibly seeing Carlito at the show? And like just describe that feeling, because I called that feeling being seeing the Hardys return at WrestleMania 33 a coming to Jesus moment. Like, I saw people crying, feeling like they was in a Baptist church, feeling the Holy Ghost. Like, it was ridiculous. How was that being there live to see Carlito at home in Puerto Rico? And was there any like talk that people were thinking that he might show up?
I don't believe that people were expecting it. You know, when they had the cut scene after the Bianca EO match, and all the Latinos were in the locker room giving Bad Bunny the Ray Lewis speech, we were like, okay, that's cool. Like, Vega was there, and, well, that's cool, but he's old as, are we allowed to swear? He's an older dude. I'll keep it PG. He's an older dude. He came out. He was there. That was their moment to show him. If anything, we thought that the LWOs, you know, Santos and everyone would come out, which is what they've been doing. But, Jeremy, I plugged my Twitter. I've done it once. Am I allowed to do it again? I want you to yell at me.
No. So, I don't yell at anybody except Joel Pearl.
Excuse me. Sorry for coughing. So Adrian Radio 93, if you go on my Twitter, it's been retweeted quite a bit. So my whole game plan going into Backlash, sorry for the long story, was that like I was there because I wanted to see the reaction. Like, I wanted to see what people were experiencing and stuff was happening. So I had my phone out. I was recording the match just because I was instantly just going back and forth when something happened to catch people. So Carlito hits, and then as soon as he comes out, I take my phone and I just go around the arena, and the dude behind me was going hype. If you can, please go watch that video. It was amazing, like the emotion. And then when Vega came out later, like, this dude had an out of body experience, and that's what everyone in that arena had. It was amazing. Like, basically it boils down to, it's pride. People have pride for where they're from. They have pride for their island, and they want to represent, and they know that this is something that they haven't been there in 15 years, haven't had a premium event in 20 years, and they wanted to show out and represent. And so to have those people that represented them, and the few of them that have gotten the chance to represent them on a stage like that, like you could tell it meant so much to them. And it was a moment for them to give him flowers regardless on that big of a stage. Because Carlito still does stuff on the island, like, come on, the family's royalty. But to do it in front of the world, like it was nuts. It was just, when Ray came out on SmackDown, it was a surprise, and I like didn't expect it. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. When Carlito did it, you didn't have time, or you couldn't feel surprised, because it was just like a sonic boom of like, ah, oh my God. And the way that they did that, like, give it up to him, man. I'm not one of these like AEW or WWE, blah, 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 blah. Wrestling is wrestling. And when it's at its best, it's amazing. And in that moment, it was at its best. And it's something I'm never going to forget.
What'd you make of WWE not headlining with Bad Bunny and Damian Priest? And how was the energy in the crowd after that match, knowing, oh, we still have like 2 more matches, which, you know, we still got top stars in these matches, but wait, that we're not closing the show with that? Like, what was the feeling like there for that decision?
So this might be, and I don't know this for a fact because I didn't talk to anyone from WWE to like be like, hey, what was up with that? In my head, if I'm running this back, I believe that match ended around 9:30, 9:45. In the media section where we were sitting, you know, your online figureheads within the wrestling community, the few that were there, we were there, and then there was a ton of press from Puerto Rico, from whatever outlets, because of Bad Bunny. So my assumption is that they wanted that match to end before 10 p.m. for like news, so that they could get this on TV, so that they could start pushing stuff out. Because some of the photographers and some of the people that weren't there because they were covering the event for wrestling fans or wrestling community or whatever, they left as soon as the match was done, because they took their photos, they had everything, they had the whole 2 hours, they had the Zelina moment. So I think that they were trying to do that so that the news outlets and everything could start pushing that out before 10 o'clock hit. I know that seems kind of minor for wrestling fans, or like they don't think of it that way. But when it's a megastar and you can get that publicity, and hell, if they start the news with it, which Puerto Rico, the local news, the Telemundos, the Univisions, which is the ABCs and the Foxes in Puerto Rico, like they were pushing this hard. They were like if the president speaks and the news breaks into the president's speech, whatever, the news at noon in Puerto Rico did that when Bad Bunny came out, and they broadcasted the press conference like on the local news. So this was a big thing. And for them to get the coverage, they're like, let's put this on. Of course, it ends the show. It's an amazing moment. But the moment happened. And also, Cody Rhodes is apparently, I know he has a little bit of Cuban in him, but I guess he's a Puerto Rican son too because of his dad. They loved Cody, and they loved Brock too. I know some of the videos have circulated, and I'm going to get to editing and post it later today on my stuff. But Brock got a 5 to 10 minute like Suplex City, thank you, Brock. So they love them dudes. I was very surprised at the reaction that Cody got. So it still worked out in the end. But I think it was like a business like media decision to let's make sure that this happens so we can push this out and get the attention of it, especially with the Canelo fight. I didn't even realize. I think there was a UFC pay-per-view too. So there was a lot going on because it's Cinco de Mayo weekend, and that's a combat sports weekend. But I think they were trying to get the headlines and why they placed it right there in the middle as opposed to ending it, I think.
But that makes the most sense than anything I've heard from anybody else about that actually, it was like, oh, okay, that actually makes a little bit of sense for the decision, because I didn't agree with it. I was like, that whole picture of basically the Puerto Rican pride of Carlito, Bad Bunny, Savio Vega with LWO, and like you said, how Ray was so popular out there as well. I felt like that was the perfect ending of the show, but it makes a lot of sense that they wanted to get that out to the local for publicity, because it's WWE. They're all about the publicity and the easy way to do that. I wanted to ask you in regards to one of the other kind of big reactions at the show was Io Sky. Did you kind of expect Io to become this like big baby face? And it wasn't just like the fans there kind of cheering for Io. They were also booing Bianca. And that was very, very rare. Like when I heard the reaction for Io and I heard Bianca kind of get, a good response during the introductions, I didn't suspect it to turn into basically everything Bianca was doing. They booed her and they were cheering everything Io was doing. And they still worked the match like Io was the heel and Bianca was the babyface, but the crowd really just embraced Io Sky.
Obviously, that match stole the night, right? But I give so much credit to both of them for sticking with the game plan and, for Bianca to not be phased in that situation. Because obviously, some people are like, oh, this is Super Cena again. And that's a whole separate discussion of like if that's the best thing for her character, blah, 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 blah. But Bianca wasn't phased. She kept it pushing. And it did surprise me because when she came out on Friday, I know that WWE pushed that out because she's on Raw now, I believe, or whatever. And they're like, yeah, she's going to make an appearance to talk about stuff. But her pop on Friday at SmackDown, excuse me, guys, I'm a mess. The pop on Friday on SmackDown.
If it slept, you lost your baggage. It's understandable.
Yeah, I apologize, guys. And also, it's like laggy, so I don't want to click mute on my mic when I cough. Whatever. I'm not going to get distracted by the environment like Bianca. Let me get to my answer. Her pop on Friday was one of the bigger ones of the show on Friday. So I was like, oh, Bianca's beloved. I mean, she should be beloved. And I was like, okay, cool. And on Saturday, I'm like, oh, what is this? This just turned into that ECW pay-per-view, and she's Cena up in the Manhattan Center or wherever they did the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But I was happy that Bianca kept her cool and they kept it, and it was a great match, and like the crowd went nuts. And like, yeah, I keep saying it was special. It was special. Like it was incredible. And it was like, what is this? Are they really gonna are they going to make a switch right now? But no, they went out, they did their thing. Obviously, there was that scary moment where Io kind of fell on her head or fell on her nose. And I was like, oh, she cracked her nose. Oh, she cracked her nose and she got a concussion. There was that slight 2 to 3 seconds, and then Bianca kept it going, and then they finished out the match, all the false finishes. But there wasn't an indication that Io was going to get that pop because Damage Control came out on Friday too. They came out and like they got cheers, but it wasn't like nobody was sticking out with Io. I think it was because they used her entrance music, and her entrance slaps the whole production of it. And people were like, wait a minute. But it was cool. And I know Io tweeted it out afterwards, like, I guess Puerto Rico likes me. So like I don't think she was expecting it either. But because of those circumstances, and like the reverse Raw after WrestleMania type style that the crowd went into, they told a beautiful story, and that crowd just magnified it. And let me just say one thing, because I don't know if you guys are going to tee me up with a question about it or whatever. I'm putting in this now. Kansas City, Missouri, Lubbock, Texas, other places across the Cincinnati, no disrespect to John Moxley. Oh, I shouldn't say Cincinnati. Excuse me. I know who owns this company. Places in the country that don't be popping, that just go there and just treat it like baseball in the 1940s. We're wearing suits and we're just watching and just, nah, you're out, bro. I want a Raw in Brazil. I want you guys to go to like all these places that haven't seen the product, that like will take whatever they can get, because the dopest part about this is obviously that Bad Bunny entrance is going to be iconic in all those moments. But when you talk about Io and the rest of the talent that aren't at that level, it just magnifies everything, and it makes everyone seem important, and it makes everyone seem like a star. And that's what they did. Io was a rock star. She was the coolest girl on that island for those 30 minutes. And that's dope because if they did Raw in Kansas City, Missouri, the fans wouldn't give a shit. So you got to stop. We can't do this. Anytime there's a Raw crowd now, I'm starting the list, and you're out. Lubbock, Texas, Kansas City, Missouri. I'm zoomed in on you two cities. Y'all better step your game up when the WWE comes to town, because we don't need to do this. We don't need to have whack crowds. That's what makes wrestling so dope. It's the crowds. It's the experience. And we can't have no crowds. You can't sit on your ass at these shows. We want dope experiences, and that's what Puerto Rico provided, in my opinion.
I agree.
Adrian's out here just shooting on Kansas City, Missouri.
That's just strays.
Hey, fuck the Royals. You know what I'm saying? Fuck the Royals. Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, you sound weird every time you speak. Apparently, your brother is creepy.
God.
Anyway.
My God. AJ, last one. The reaction to Zelina Vega. We knew she would get a good reaction. Her homecoming for her as well. Great entrance with the flag. Just the overall reaction to the event.
Let me take you back real quick for the whole week. So WWE usually when they do big events, they do a lot of community events, community outreach. So on Friday before the press conference, we were at a school, which I will give WWE credit. They went to the hood, or one of the hoods of Puerto Rico. My mom was like, "They're going there? Are you sure? Can I see that address? Just double check for me real quick. You sure you want to bring your camera?" I'm just saying. No, they went to the hood, which is cool because a lot of places they go to like these nice schools that don't need this help. But they went there. It was the Boys and Girls Club and then the school students. And they kind of, before they spent some time and played games with them, they spoke to the crowd of kids. They lined them up like an assembly. And then they let some of the kids ask questions. And out of the 10 questions that were asked, 8 of them went to Zelina. 1 went to Damian Priest as the kid yelled at him for beating up Bad Bunny. And the other kid asked Santos Escobar if wrestling was real, and Santos handled it perfectly. But, excuse me, I say all of that to say that you could tell that, like, oh, the island's all in on Zelina. And on Friday, the love was there. On Saturday for the actual event, truth be told, as the match and the entrance was happening, I was getting my Bad Bunny merch. They kind of selling like crazy, you know what I'm saying? I got a kid to feed. Was trying to grab a couple M's and larges available on eBay. Right now, if you don't want to wait a month to get it on WWE Shop, I'm just saying. But obviously, the applause at the end of the match, and I love that they didn't they didn't just do it for the moment. They could have, but they did it good. She brought out the chancleta. I had everyone that was Puerto Rican in my family. They don't really like wrestling. They were all tuned in, and they thought that was the coolest and most hilarious thing. They thought that was so dope when she brought out the chancleta. And afterwards, like it was super emotional. Zelina's kind of like me, where family is born in Puerto Rico. They spent time in Puerto Rico. But she herself hasn't had that time in Puerto Rico. I haven't had that time in Puerto Rico. I felt a lot of regret spending all that time there. Like, wow, my whole life, I'd only been there for 24 to 36 hours for funerals or for like Thanksgiving or holiday events with family. I'd never been able to actually spend time there. And I could feel that she like just, for those people to still show love and still be so welcoming and to be so thankful. Like I'm getting emotional now just saying it. But it was tremendous. And let alone like she always looks beautiful, but to have the flag like that, the way that they did, like whoever made her gear for the night, like that is like one of those images that when you go to WrestleMania Access and they have the billboards of the history of the WWE, like I wouldn't be surprised if that's one of the pictures on there. And that was heartfelt. And she had a lot of love at the press conference, so many signs. It was like half Bunny, half hers. I know that they brought them into the arena too. The little girls she was getting the Bianca treatment. Everyone in the States, when they see Bianca, especially little girls of any color, like they look at her like, wow. And that's the same thing that Zelina was getting. And yeah, it was like I still haven't been able to watch the replay, but like I know for a fact, just watching it again, that's gonna like make me very emotional to see. And it was great, and she felt that love, and obviously the things that have happened in her life. It kind of, yeah, man, it was a beautiful thing. That's like the simplest way I could put it. And that dude on Twitter, that's that tweet that's going viral of that asshole who tweeted that thing. Everyone knows he's a piece of shit, and I just wanted to say it on the record. That's like some disgusting things. But something that wasn't disgusting was the actual moment itself. And that's just a dope thing, man. When you get, minorities and people of color that haven't had the spotlight in many things, including, of course, WWE and wrestling in general, to get those moments, they're few and far between. And everyone that we've had has been deserving. And Zelina deserved that moment. And it was a gorgeous thing.
Adrian, thank you for joining us. First, get some sleep, get some rest, please. It's been a long week. I'm glad you were there. I'm glad you had a great time. It sounds like, you compared it to Game 6 of the finals, one of the greatest finals in Cleveland, just the greatest NBA finals of all time. But that place in Cleveland, I can only imagine. Let everybody know where they can find you at.
No, for sure. And once again, thank you guys for following me. Instagram at Heavyweight Radio, Twitter at Adrian Radio 93, and then the biggest one, YouTube at Adrian CLE 93. As of right now, my interview with Damian Priest is up. The crowd reaction to Bad Bunny on Friday and the reaction to all the surprises of the Backlash main event or Bad Bunny match are up. But we got interviews with Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan, Santos Escobar, a few other surprises, and a whole bunch of other stuff with the people from the island that we are going to be putting up today. So on YouTube at Adrian CLE93. You guys are amazing. Thank you guys for having us in Heel. Pleasure to finally get to meet you and get to talk.
Yes, man. I just followed you on Twitter, man. Doing great work, man. Thank you for joining us.
Appreciate y'all. Take care, Jeremy, as always.
Thank you, Adrian. Get some sleep. Hope things go well. You get your back from Denver. Denver's losing a lot lately. SP3.
Adrian's got to push people like Jokic pushed the owner.
WWE Raw tonight. The World Heavyweight Title Tournament kicks off, and I think that's like the only thing that's been announced for this show. SP3, what are you looking forward to on Raw or NXT tomorrow?
I am looking forward to Damian Priest winning his triple threat and going to the semifinals, I guess you could call it, of this tournament in the main event tonight on Raw. I'm actually might stay up and watch the whole edition of Monday Night Raw. I unfortunately did that last week and had to watch the draft. So hopefully it's going to be good stuff tonight. And tomorrow, NXT. I'm just looking forward to Trick Willie getting his matchup against Braun Breaker. I'm a big Trick Williams fan because the man is magic on the mic. So I'm looking forward to those two things. And of course, tonight, I'm looking forward to Steve Kerr, Steve Austin, Steve Urkel, Steve Stevenson, Steven Regal, Lakers in 5. Lakers in 5. Lakers in 5.
I'm looking forward to whatever the finals is tonight. I assume it's Seth and Priest. That's my guess. If Triple H is not a coward, it'll be Seth and Cody. We shall see. I'm looking forward to that on Raw. SP3, thank you for joining me these past 2 days. Today, Monday, and then Friday, as Joel Pearl does nothing as usual.
You need to make it official that I'm the sixth man of In the Weeds. I'm already the sixth man for the spotlight.
I'm trying. I'll kick everybody off this channel. It'll just be you, not Haley and Kylie. I need them.
No, of course.
We all need them. You and me. Yeah, exactly. This channel's gonna die without tag talk.
All I'm saying is I'm gonna clip my clip from In the Weeds on Friday where I started the show, and I'm gonna end the show trying to backdoor. My goal for 2023 is go through the Fightful backdoor and finally get paid by Jimmy Van, Sean Rossap. Answer your tweets, answer your DMs, answer your emails, and get me a job. Come on, man.
SP3, thank you so much for joining me these past 2 days, for filling in as Joel Pearl does God knows what. Joel Pearl will be back, unfortunately, on Wednesday. I hope Joel Pearl is doing well. I know he's been taking care of some stuff elsewhere in Canada. So hopefully Joel Pearl's doing well. He'll be back on Wednesday. We also have from we'll throw it out there. Hopefully it goes through. Oh, sorry. I'll say this since you're here with me, SP3. I got a press release on the Matt Cardona Mark Long match. So
did you see the clip that Scott posted?
They sent me the clips.
With Tina and Rachel and Rachel's
they sent
kid.
me the clips. Yeah. So I'm gonna 100% have to do an article on that here in a second. But yeah, I just saw this press release pop up from Mark Long, and I was like, "What is it?" Oh, okay. Thank you, SP3, for joining me these past couple of days. So Wednesday, Joel Pearl will be back, and if things go well, if things stay on track, we will have Marty Garner on the show. Marty Garner, aka Champagne. You saw him referee the firm deletion match on Friday, and he famously took that Spike pedigree from Triple H many years ago. So we will talk to him about all those things. Marty Garner will be joining us on Wednesday. I believe we have Vinny Pacifico on Friday. I got to double check, confirm with him. So we're lining people up. We'll continue to talk about the world of professional wrestling this week. Everybody subscribe to Fightful Overbooked. Leave us a 5-star review if you're listening on a podcast platform. Leave a thumbs up on this video if you're watching the replay. Thank you, everybody, for the support. We'll be back tomorrow. FMC, myself, and SP3. I hope I'll talk to you about that here in a second. Yes, but we'll be back tomorrow, FMC, at some point. I'm not 100% sure it's going to be 8:30, but we're going to try to knock out FMC. No worries. Otherwise, we'll be back on Wednesday in the Weeds, 10 o'clock. Tag Talk coming up at 3 p.m. Eastern. Everyone, go support Haley, go support Kylie, go support Tag Talk, support Fightful Overbooked. Bye, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Monday.